What is up, Outlanders? Welcome back to another video. This is 29 tips and tricks from myself, a Vigor veteran, the best Vigor player in the world. I never die, I never get killed, nobody ever shoots me. I'm basically the best. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We've got Vigor content dropping every single week, so make sure you subscribe to us and check it out. Alright, so first tip I have is called the left trigger trick. Now sometimes you're in a building or behind an object looking around a corner and you don't want to be seen. The unfortunate fact is that this game does have pop through. Your gun can stick through the wall, the rock, the tree, giving yourself away to your opposition. To combat this, when up against the wall, simply turn to the side and hit the left trigger. This will move your character and enable you to look around the corner without pop through. Number 2, rate of fire. It's not all about damage when it comes to guns. Now, some of it is obviously. The harder hitting the gun, the better it is in theory. However, you can't ignore rate of fire. Rate of fire matters, particularly in close range battles. Cheaper guns can outperform their higher tiered counterparts because of rate of fire. I myself like to use the Suomi in close range. It rocks the SG-1. However, the SG-1 destroys the Suomi at medium range because of the scope, and it hits harder. Go through your guns, research them, try them out, and pay attention to that rate of fire stat. It's super important. Number 3, play from the proper distance. Different guns are better at different distances. Shotguns, for instance, are the ultimate close combat weapon, while SG-1s are amazing at a mid-distance. An SG-1 is never going to be as strong as a sniper is at long distance or as powerful as a shotgun at close distance. Play to your weapon. Utilize it at the proper distance. If you have a mid-range gun, don't let someone close that distance. Don't be afraid to run away to keep your distance and your advantage. Similarly, if you have a close-range weapon, close the gap between you and the other player. Don't let a mid-range or a long-range player have that advantage by playing to their distance. Close that gap. All guns are different. Play to your gun. Play from the proper distance. Number 4, properly use caffeine. Caffeine is a super effective, if not the most super effective, consumable in the game, particularly at the end of a match when trying to extract with your airdrop or outrun radiation. Don't just pop caffeine, however. To get the most out of caffeine, run as you normally would until your stamina is almost drained. Right before it drains, then you pop the caffeine pill. This will fully replenish your stamina and gives you that extra stamina circle that caffeine gives. If you pop your caffeine when your stamina is already full, you're essentially wasting a full stamina bar of running. Properly use your caffeine. Our number 5 tip is to delete items from loot. When looting, sometimes your inventory gets filled up. In order to maximize your loot and your XP, delete items you don't want or need. I always will delete gun or consumable parts and extra bullets in favor of resources, as this maximizes my loot and the XP I receive at the end of a match. All you have to do is hold down on the Y or triangle button over the item you wish to delete from your inventory. Tip number 6 is ADS, or aiming down sights. Some guns work really well when aiming down sights. Some work better in third person. Some situations are better for aiming down sight, and some situations work better for third person fighting. Know when and where to use each of these. A good easy rule of thumb is to use ADS for long range shooting and third person for close range. There are some guns, however, that I prefer to use all ADS all the time and do better for me that way, but that's going to be preference. Learning when to use your sights and when not to is going to be the key to successful encounters. Learning when to use it with which specific gun is going to make you a better player. My 7th tip is to know your sounds. Different locations on the map utilize different sounds. When someone attempts to unlock the time safe, a specific sound goes off. When someone hits radio signal, portable signal detector, locked crate, or when 2 people are close to the same exit, there are distinct and separate sounds that go off for each. Knowing these sounds and being able to recognize these sounds can help you easily track where different players are in your encounters and help you decide where you want to maneuver to. Are you playing aggressive? Head straight to the time safe when you hear that sound go off and go for the kill. Are you playing more for loot and avoiding people? Then avoid the safe when you hear the sound go off. Know your sounds, you'll be a better player. Tip number 8 is to know your exits. Each exit in each map is unique. Each has hiding spots, lookout spots for snipers, and each also has little known secrets that can give you an advantage when exiting a counter. When you find yourself free in an encounter, really study each exit. See which ways you can get in from. See which ways you can get out from. Can you jump over that rock, that cliff? Is there anything underneath this pier? Are you able to extract from certain locations? Knowing each exit could literally mean life and death in future matches. Get to know them. Know your exits thoroughly. Tip number 9 is to always be crafting. That's right, ABC. Always be crafting. Consumables, weapons, and ammo are valuable resources in Vigor. There is nothing worse than going to jump into a match by yourself or with friends and not having the right weapons or consumables to contribute or have a successful match. Prevent this by crafting whatever it is you need in between matches. Most consumables should be done being crafted by the time your match is over. I personally like to stock up on portable signal detectors and armor in between matches, as these are items I'm always using. Remember, always be crafting. My 10th tip is to switch guns and use Y. One thing that catches a lot of players is their inability to quickly switch weapons in an intense gunfight. Don't let this happen to you. Whenever you get a new gun or at the beginning of each match, switch guns using the right bumper. Once you switch one time, you are then able to quick switch by using the Y or triangle buttons. I can't tell you how many times I've been saved because I can quick switch weapons and finish the fight. Number 11 is to load in that extra bullet. Another little known tip when it comes to your weapons is to load in that extra bullet. Hit the reload button to load a bullet into the chamber. This gives you an extra bullet than you otherwise would have. And yes, sometimes in intense firefights, the difference of life and death comes down to that extra bullet, so make sure you load it in. Tip number 12 is to start the timer. When at the end of a match and radiation is pouring in, your health is falling, and you don't think you're gonna make it, you think you're gonna die, do not fret, because all you need to do is make it to an exit and start the timer. Even if your health runs out and your timer is going, you won't die, you will extract. So the goal should not be to leave yourself those 10 seconds to extract. Remember, you just need to start that timer no matter what, and you will extract as long as someone doesn't shoot you, but radiation will not kill you as long as your timer has started. Tip number 13 is to beware of crows. Whenever you're next to an exit and hear crows, it means someone else is also nearby. Crows go off whenever two opposing players or teams are close to an exit point. Don't ignore this. First place I check when I see crows is the actual exit to see if I can get an easy kill from someone trying to extract. If nobody's there, I tread carefully and am extra careful, pay attention to bushes, hiding spots, see where someone's at if they're close to me or if they've already left the area. Ignoring crows can be detrimental to your health. You can get sniped, you can get killed, you can get sidecocked. Paying attention to crows can both save your life and get you some easy kills. Tip number 14 is to ignore gun crates. Yes, that's right, you heard me right. I said ignore gun crates. When looting and leveling up your battle pass, ignore all gun crates. A lot of players just grab any and everything they can. This is a mistake. You don't get any XP from gun crates. You don't get any XP from any weapons, ammos, plans, parts, or consumables that you extract with that are found in gun crates. And items for gun crates take up inventory. Now, the only time that I do go for gun crates is if I drop in with no weapon. If I drop in with no weapon, then I do go for gun crates in the hopes of getting a gun. But that doesn't take up any inventory. That just gives me a weapon to defend myself. Other than that, I pretty much ignore gun crates because, again, you don't get any XP, you don't get any level boost, you don't level up with stuff picked up in gun crates. Tip number 15 is third-party kills. Some of your best opportunities in the game come from taking advantage of other Outlanders already engaged in a gunfight. These players are focused on each other, exposed from their gunfire, and usually not paying attention to their back or sides. Use this opportunity to third-party them and get yourself some easy kills, some easy loot, and a whole lot of fun. I should also mention here that you should also be aware that you yourself can be third-partied while in a gunfight. So always be aware of your surroundings and position yourself in a position where you minimize that risk using trees, rocks, houses, or other obstructions to limit yourself from the direction that you can be killed from. Keep the battle in front of you. Don't allow yourself to be third-partied, and take advantage of other players in gunfights by third-partying them. Number 16 is to make sure you get your weekly crates. One of the best ways to level up and get valuable loot is to make sure you get your weekly crates. You can do this by donating food to the charity box. I leveled up my rat traps and garden boxes in my shelter first to help me get the max donation each week. These crates have valuable resources, weapons, and consumables that really can give you a heads up on the competition each and every single week, especially as you're leveling up your shelter. Number 17 is to use ping, and make sure you ping always and often. This tip is primarily for those of you using duos or trios gameplay. Use the ping feature to communicate. There is nothing more aggravating than jumping into a match with someone who doesn't utilize the ping feature to show you where other players, loot, or locations are on the map. To ping a location, simply hit left on the D-pad and double tap left on the D-pad to indicate that there's an enemy there. Now, if you're playing by yourself, you can also use ping at potential buried cache locations. If the site is a buried cache, a picture will appear. If it's not, it'll just be your normal ping indicator. Use your ping. Use your ping always, and use it often. Number 18 is to fill from preset. Time wasted in menus and in your shelter is time not spent gathering loot and getting kills. If you have a favorite loadout you use, set it as a preset. This enables you to quickly load up and get back into the fight. To set a loadout, simply head to the Equip tab, equip all the items you wish to include, and left-click on the joystick. The Manage Loadout screen will appear and hit Save as Preset. To equip your preset loadout, before each match, go to the Equip tab, left-click on the joystick, and select Fill from Preset. This will quickly equip your loadout and is a nice quality of life thing that just helps you get back in matches faster, and you don't have to scroll through all your different items and equip them individually. Tip 19 is know when to lay down. Laying down is good for hiding, being silent, and avoiding people. It can be good for long distance sniping as it does help keep your sight steady. However, it can also be deadly. When you're laying down, your head becomes the main target and it can make it easier for your opponents to kill you. If they just hit you once, it could be a headshot. It just makes it easier for your opponents to get headshots on you and you die. Be aware of this and lay down selectively. I only really lay down if I know my opponent doesn't see me and I want to surprise attack them, or if I'm hiding from someone. Other than that, I avoid laying down when in direct firefights, no matter how far away they are, as it's just too easy to get headshotted. Number 20 is crouching. Similarly to laying down, knowing when to crouch is huge. Crouching, again, just like laying down, makes it easier to be more accurate with your sights and enables you to be a little more quiet when walking. However, crouching when in a firefight does make it easier for your opponent to kill you. You are less mobile, number one, and your head is lowered to a position that makes it easier for your opponent to get a headshot. I only really use crouch when I'm trying to be quiet or I'm taking cover behind something. I never use it in direct gunfights because, again, it just puts your head at that perfect location. It basically lines it up with the default reticle for your opponent, and it just makes it easier for them to get a headshot on you. Which brings us to tip 21, stand and fight. The optimal position to be in when engaging in direct firefights is standing. It enables you to strafe, move, and avoid getting hit. A mobile target is a hard target to hit and gives you advantage over your competition. To practice standing and fighting, jump into shootout matches. The best players in shootout never crouch and never lay down. Instead, they stand, remain mobile, strafe, and get kills. Master this, and you will increase your kills and your survivability in gunfights. Number 22, hold your breath. This goes hand in hand with standing and fighting. I don't crouch or lay down even when sniping because I can get the same effect by holding my breath. Left click on the joystick when sniping or aiming down sight and your scope becomes stabilized. This enables me to line up my shot when standing and get the kill. When in firefights, stay scoped and hold your breath until it runs out. Then unscope and move or take cover until you're able to hold your breath again. If you stay scoped when your breath runs out, your scope is going to move all over the place because you're taking a deep breath again. So just go back to third person, move, avoid getting shot, take cover until you're able to breathe again. Committing this to muscle memory, holding your breath, unholding your breath, has improved my sniping, it's improved my gunplay, and my deadliness in firefights. Hold your breath. Tip 23 is right bumper and left bumper. That's right, hitting right bumper and left bumper changes your shoulder camera. This gives you advantages of sight depending on what direction you're heading, what door you're going through, or what corner you're trying to look around. Make using right and left bumpers a part of your muscle memory. The best players in the world seamlessly switch between shoulders depending on their situation, which gives them a huge advantage over the competition. Number 24 is perimeter. As is true in any competitive shooter, the map can be used to your advantage. If you are constantly in the middle of the map, you're exposed from all directions. Utilize the perimeters of each map to negate this. Keep your enemies in front of you at all times and decrease the chances of being shot at, and increase your chances of success by effectively utilizing the perimeters of the map to maximize your in-game lethality and your survivability rate. Use the perimeter. Tip number 25 is to use third person. Vigor is a third person shooter. This means it's all about angles. One of the unique aspects of a third-person shooter is the increased field of view. Use it to your advantage. You have the ability to see around corners and obstructions in a third-person shooter that you just don't get in first-person shooters. Use all obstructions in the game to give yourself a positional advantage. Whether it's a rock, a tree, height, or a building, use obstructions to both give you cover while maintaining sight of your enemies. You can do this because it's a third-person camera. Using anything you can for positioning advantage is the name of the game in third-person shooters. Make sure you get used to this. Use the fact that this is a third-person shooter to your advantage. Use that third-person camera. Maintain sight of your enemies while being obstructed from them with items, buildings, anything you can find. It's a third-person shooter. Use it. Tip number 26 is to always be moving. Camping in this game does not help you. Despite what some people say on the internet, despite what some complaints are, you miss out on loot if you camp. You can more easily become a target, and you just don't have as much success. Always be moving. Whether you're going for kills or for loot, this will open up opportunities for you. It'll open up opportunities to find more loot, buried cash, and other important locations, and even help you get more kills while helping to prevent you from getting killed. A player on the move is just hard to hit in this game. You're hard to kill in this game if you're always moving. Always be moving. Tip number 27 is to control the airdrop comms. Those who control the airdrop have the best chance of getting airdrop. Using comms and hitting it as many times in a match as possible will improve your chances of actually extracting with airdrop. For instance, if I drop in with no weapons, I like to rush a comm station and move it to a location I think I can be the first to grab it and bounce. I also like to use the stealth ability at comms as it keeps me hidden when picking up airdrop, ensuring I'm not easily hunted when I do pick it up. The other one that I like to use is quick release, because I can quick release and grab that immediately and take off like a banshee. The more you use comm stations, the more likely you are to extract with airdrop. So if you're going for airdrop, hit all the comm stations you can, hit them multiple times, get the advantage over other players by knowing where it's at and having those benefits. Tip number 28 is to complete your daily rewards. For easy resource crates and rewards, complete your daily challenges. There are some easy ones in there that are automatic crates for you. If a challenge is too hard or too tedious, just remove it. Don't waste your time on it. It's not worth it in my opinion, and wait for a new one to show up. But don't forget to check your daily challenges, as it's a great way to get resources and materials. And our 29th tip is to watch better players. This is how I ultimately learned how to be a better player. Whenever someone killed me with an impressive shot or a tactic, I watched them. I just watched the rest of their game. I saw how they played. What weapons were they using? What were they doing? How were they maneuvering? Where were they at on the map? What was their tactics here? Watching players better than myself has made me a better player. You expand your knowledge of strategies, you expand your knowledge of play styles, and become a better overall player. Watch other players, whether that's in-game or via streams. Watching a variety of Vigor players and Vigor players that are better than yourself at different things, whether it's looting, moving, shooting, doesn't matter. Watching them will improve your gameplay. You can adopt some of their practices and become a better overall player. And that's my 29 tips, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found value. If you did, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We're dropping videos every single week. It's a good time here on this channel. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what tips you found most helpful in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you in the Outlands.